Okay, we're discussing the third and last test for this semester, semester 1, 2012. First question on the chapter of field effect transistor amplifiers and switching circuits. Question 1, identify the device and configuration of amplifier for the circuits below. And then I also gave you there an example. You should tell me what's the device. Example said BJT, and of course the configuration common emitter amplifier. So you just have to do the same for the circuits that's been asked. First circuit there is the device is a D MOSFET, and it's a common source amplifier, 1 mark each. So you had to say D MOSFET for 1 mark and common source amplifier for the second mark. Also, for the second one, device that's been used is a JFET, and it's a common drain amplifier or a source follower for the 2 marks. The third one, E MOSFET, common source amplifier. I hope you still remember by now how to identify the circuits, the amplifiers. You have to go and see where's the input, where's the output. And of course the remaining terminal makes it the configuration. Right, so the last one, JFET and common gate amplifier. 8 marks all in all if you had everything correct. Question number 2. 2.1, find VGS, ID, and VDS and the AC output voltage for the circuit below. I see I forgot to write where I found this, but this was an example from that chapter. Can't remember the example number. And then the values were given. ID on 200 milliamps at VGS is 4 volts, VGS threshold 2 volts, GM 23 millisiemens, and VN 25 millivolts. Alright, to determine VGS, voltage divider, the answer 2,228 volts. Remember, you had to express it in engineering notation, and it should have been accurately to 3 decimals. If it wasn't, then of course you didn't get the mark. By the third test, no excuses anymore, ne? Alright, the second one you had to calculate ID, but firstly you have to calculate K, of course, which was 50 milliamps per square volt. If you didn't express it in engineering notation, or you didn't write the unit correct, you didn't get the mark. And of course for the answer ID, 2,599 milliamps, accurately to 3 decimals, you also got the second mark. Alright, then you had to calculate VDS, 6,423 volts for 1 mark. And then lastly, you had to calculate the output voltage, but you had to calculate RD first. If you've done it in one step, I also marked it. 3 kilo ohms, voltage gain 69, and finally the output voltage is 1,725 volts. 3 marks all in all for V out. Alright, question 2.2, you had to identify the circuit. I see I made a mistake here. I fixed it at my memo that I used to mark, but it's, of course, it's not a cascade amplifier, it's a cascode. If you wrote cascade, then of course you also didn't get the mark. So remember, that's a cascode, and it's a JFET. So for JFET and cascode, you got the 2 marks. And 2.3, which 2 circuits are normally used in a series arrangement to form this circuit? Remember, it's 2 circuits in series there. The 2 circuits being used, common source and common gate amplifiers for 1 mark each. And then When we discussed this amplifier, the first thing that was mentioned, the applications that this circuit is being used is for RF applications, radio frequencies, for another mark. So that question number 2 was 12 marks all in all. And then on the last chapter, on thyristors, I asked 3.1 to draw in the space provided 2 simple methods to turn an SCR off by using the anode current interruption method. Okay, so specifically anode current interruption. So you can see the one there I have inline. The switch is inline to break the anode current. Then of course it will be lower than the holding current. But you have to keep in mind, if you didn't tell me that's a positive voltage and that side was grounded, you did not get the marks. And of course, some of you even drew the symbol of the SCR incorrectly. Then of course, also you've lost your mark. So if there are 2 or more circles on your circuit that you've drawn, then of course you didn't get the marks. Same applies to this side. You had to show me the voltage and that these sides are grounded. And now the SCR is bypassed by a switch to momentarily bypass the anode current, so the anode current then becomes lower than the holding current. 2 marks each, 4 marks all in all. Alright, 3.2. Then I asked you to name another method, because I asked you previously to draw the 2 methods for anode current interruption. So what is the other, apart from the anode current interruption? And of course, it is forced commutation. You won't believe I even made a joke while we were discussing this. I said a lot of students tell me that it's forced communication. That's what I normally do with you. And a lot of students still wrote forced communication. Then, of course, you didn't get the mark. All right, so for forced commutation, you got 2 marks. All right, then in 3.3, I said you have to identify the following SRC application circuits. And I said the last one, the shaded area, is the application that you have to name. All right, the first one there is a half-wave power control or a half-wave phase control. You had to tell me half-wave for the first 1 mark and power control or phase control to get the second mark. 2 marks for that one. The next one is that backup lighting circuit if the main power falls away. So backup lighting circuit, you got 2 marks. And then the last one, over voltage protection circuit. Some of you wrote crowbar circuit, then you also got the marks. But you had to tell me over voltage, not just voltage protection or whatever. No, over voltage protection circuit. Another 2 marks there. And then lastly, 3.4, I asked you to identify some of the symbols that we've discussed. First one, of course, was the programmable unit junction transistor, or the PUT. Some of you wrote PUT and then you wrote something else at the end. Then you, of course, also lost the marks. IGBT, insulated gate bipolar transistor. Most of you didn't get that one. I got answers like a capacitor coupled NPN transistor or something like that as well, which of course is wrong. And the last one, silicon control switch. So that question was 15 marks all in all, total of 35. If you got 35, then of course you got 100%. All right, that concludes test number 3.